Morning, YouTube. In for some issues again today. Got the news yesterday or the day before that we're going to get a big storm coming in. They keep downgrading it, but I went out to the trucks to make sure everything was good and ready to go, and I came across the 01 that I have, the f350 01, and I fixed one last night, but see how high this side's sitting here? I put in new leaf springs because this side was snapped right in half, and I put the heavy duty ones in the 3 leaf springs. And this side, see, 1 leaf spring in the back, 2 in the front. So it broke, this one broke. And this one broke 1 leaf and that one broke both. So like I said, I fixed this one last night and now I gotta go fix the other one. Unfortunately, it's 20 degrees out, so that kind of sucks, but gotta do what we gotta do just in case. If it does snow tonight, this thing's gotta be ready to go. There you have it. Got a little bit of a gangster lean going on there. See, the passenger side is dropped right down. Driver's side has the heavy duty springs in, so it's higher than stock anyways, but I'm gonna get this in here and start tearing it apart. I'm just gonna get rolling, but what I did on the other side, the first thing you want to do is get rid of your caliper, because the leaf spring, I mean, it might not be in the way, but it's just easier to take the caliper off, tie it up, you know, out of the way, so that you can bring the leaf spring in on your lap over the wheel, or, you know, under the wheel well, over the axle, without trying to feed it through the front or the back. It's just easier when you're by yourself. Okay, now normally what you would do is just pull this bolt out. Okay, that's through the front shackle. That takes the spring out. The back bolt is back there, and then you got your 2 U-bolts. That's it. That's really the only thing. So I'm going to heat all those up, hit them with a little PB blaster, and then we're going to break them loose. So I might set you up on a tripod, and we'll get to work. We'll get behind this bolt head. Like that. And then, hopefully, this will just come loose. Yep, there it goes. Yeah, you're not gonna get this just dry. You know, you could try if you want, but what's going to happen is the tab on that nut, okay, I'll show you when it comes out. There's a tab, it's just a piece of sheet metal basically fastened to a nut, and that piece of sheet metal just keeps the nut from turning because it's wedged in the groove. But I'll show you when I pull this out what can happen. I'm usually using my electric impact for this, but the batteries are both dead, so it's charging right now. You can see this bolt is not in bad shape at all. The threads are nice and clean. So the Loctite was really holding it in. And it's rusty at the end, but that was the part that was sticking through. So let me see if I can pull this thing out.
There it goes. Oh, this one's in the way. I gotta pull those two out before I do it. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get that bolt out there, right there, and then I'll work on these under here. So I'll be back in just a minute. All right, I got this thing out I wanted to show you. So this is that nut all these bolts go through, and this tab sticks down through a hole, and when you turn the bolt, the tab gets stuck against the frame rail, and then you can, you know, loosen the bolt out. Or sorry, the other way. You loosen the bolt out. So a lot of times what happens is this part here, this will break because it is rusty, it's thin, and if you're seized in here real good and you start spinning, you're gonna break this, and then this is just gonna spin around inside, and then you're gonna have to cut the bolt out. So the heat is definitely your friend on this job because of all that Loctite in there. It loosens it up, and then you can get it out. So just real quick to show you the other bolts, kind of a pain, but these two are easy. You can get a wrench in here, no issues. But up here behind this, where's my light? Behind that dust shield, or the valance, is 3 more bolts. One there, and then 2 there. It's a little tight to get in there. I might have to pull this valance off, but I'll get that. And then the other 2 are here. So same thing. See that tab right there? That tab is connected to 2 nuts. So I want to heat those up real good, spray a little PB on them, and then take them out. I'll pull that tab out so I can clean it. And the same with the front. I don't know where the tab is for that. I'm just going to be careful, pull those out. Once I pull that shackle off, we'll figure it out. Because the other 2, or the other 3 on the other side were stuck in there. I don't know if there was a tab on it or not, but the nuts never moved. They just stayed right where they were, so they might actually be welded to the inside of the frame. But I'm going to go ahead and take these off, and then we'll go from there. Alright, now that I heated up these guys, I was able to get those nuts out. And then this is that carrier. So I mean, if you do break these and you got to cut the bolts off, you can get these, I think, just through Ford though. But I mean, you could also possibly get a nut behind there, a magnet or bent needle nose or something. You'd probably be able to get a nut up inside that hole in a jam to try to fix yourself. But if you can hang out of these, they work great. So just keep these aside, clean them up, and get them ready for install. Now I'm going to move along to the front and get those 3 out, and I'll be back. Alright, I'm having some difficulty with those 3 front bolts, so I'm just kind of going away from it for a minute to catch my breath and start over again. I knocked out these the U-bolts, the nuts. They're pretty easy, they just came off. A little PB blaster, and they came out. Don't get me wrong, you're gonna need a good impact wrench or some good leverage because they are tight, but so that's out. I have the axle supported. I'm gonna drop the axle down and tackle that front again, and then see if we can't get this to come loose. Alright, a little bit of PB blaster and some heat. I was able to heat up this nut enough to break it loose. Got myself some really long handled wrenches for some extra leverage, because I can't get a socket in past this body mount, so I need to get a wrench in there anyways. It'd be awesome if I had a 24mm gear wrench, but I don't, so this will have to do. And I'm not taking off I'll take off the bottom shackle here Once the leaf spring is out, it's easier to do it on the bench and then transfer all these parts over to the new leaf spring loosely and then installing it. But we'll get to that in a minute. I'm just gonna go ahead and get this out, and I got those bolts out in the front. A pain, a lot of swearing, a lot of heat, a lot of throwing stuff. They came out eventually. They say patience is what does it, but I really think the swearing and throwing things helps. but that's out, and I'm seeing here that this is not seized, so that's awesome news, because sometimes these get seized in the hole and then you got to cut them off. Ooh, that nut's hot. Alright, so this is out. Okay, I lied. I was going to take this bottom one off on the bench, but I ran into some issues. The exhaust is in the way of the top bolt to come out straight. So I'm going to get this one out of the way here to get the leaf out of the way so that I can, you know, move this flange or move this shackle a little bit on an angle to try to get that bolt out. So we'll see if it's going to work or not. Hot, 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 hot. Well, that's out of the way. I can move. Oh, this is gonna be a pain. Seems like the exhaust is in the way. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm gonna need to get some leverage on this Y pipe to try. Hang on. Let me get a punch, see if I can't force it through. If we can't get this through. Oh boy. Wow, that is a pain. There's no way I'm taking this exhaust off. That's friggin' ridiculous. I need to get, I might have to cut this bolt here and then grind off the end of the body mount, the part of the thread that's sticking through, and get a new bolt and put it in this way. Because from the factory, can you guys see me? Where are we? From the factory, they ran the bolt through this direction and it comes right in contact with the Y pipe. And obviously the only way to do this is to, well, you can't jack up the motor because that would get in the way, is either take the exhaust off or cut the bolt. So I'm gonna have to cut the bolt. Yeah, I don't know how good you're gonna see this, but I gotta knock this bolt out of there. This is just crazy how they did this. Yeah, I love working underneath gas engine trucks with heat. Ridiculous. And there you go, bolt is out. Sitting on my, oh no it's not. Alright, bolt is cut and out. I gotta go to the store, get a new one of those. And like I said, I'm gonna need to, I don't know, maybe not. I might need to just grind off this end here to get the bolt through straight, but I might have room Okay, now that I cut the end of these threads off where it was really bad, this should spin off now. And there it goes. Just like that. And cool thing is this bolt is still usable. Because now that I cut the ends off those threads while the nut was still here, when I pulled the nut off, it straightened out the very tip of the threads there, and then I can reuse the bolt. So that's good to go. And of course, the shackle goes on the new spring. So I'm gonna go get the new spring and start putting it back together. All right, got the new spring and put the shackle on. I tightened it up, but I'm probably gonna loosen it again so I can have some movement here. I mean, there's movement because of the rubber part, but what you really want to do is when you install these springs is everything should be loose, and then when it's on the ground, then you tighten these up. Since I don't have that luxury because the plow harness is in the way, I'm going to, I have an idea of how much space I had between here and here with my socket on the wrench. So I can kind of tell where it was before. And this is pretty close, but once I get it in the truck, I'm just going to loosen this real quick while I have access to it, and then do some finagling, and then we'll get it. But enough of that. Let's go ahead and put this back in the truck. Oh yeah, and before you install your spring, this is that little locator pin right here, and it goes on the perch right here. Make sure that you clean that out. I forgot to on the other side, and I paid for it because I got the spring installed, and then I tightened on the U-bolts, and didn't matter how tight I got them, I couldn't get this to sit flush. So I actually had to drop the axle, put a jack under the spring, get myself enough clearance to get a pick in there and clean that out real well in order for it to fit back in there. So don't make the same mistake. Clean that surface off real good and make sure that the spring is going to sit in there flush, because if you don't, pay for it later. So let's get this thing in. And what else I didn't do is I didn't pull off my caliper. And the reason for that is you need the caliper out of the way so you can get the shock out of the way and everything, but as you can see here, my shock is blown. So I gotta get a new one of these, but that gives me enough room. I just put the spring in upside down, feed it through, and then I'll flip it over and stand it in the perch. But you're in my way, so I'll do that and show you what it looks like. All right, now with the 3, 5, 7 bolts tightened back up, I put a little anti-seize on all of them. Make it easier for the next guy who has to take these off, because I'm pretty sure that they won't break for the amount of time I'm going to be using this truck, which is hopefully this is the last summer. But anyways, that's done. I'm going to go up and get a new bolt for the back shackle, and while I'm at it, I'll probably get a new shock if they have any in stock. If they don't have them in stock, I'll have to come back and fix that another day. But for now, let me go get that bolt and I'll be back. All right, before I go up to the store, you can see what I'm talking about, how obviously can't come in from this side because the exhaust is in the way. And this side, we just touched the bottom of that bolt for the body mount, or for the cab mount. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just grind the tip of this off, and then we'll be able to get some clearance. And with just a quick grind, tip of that, now that bolt goes right through. Good to go. Be back. All right, so here's my move. I got that all tightened down, and that's complete. The back, I got the shackles on and just loose. Tighten them up after this is all done. And right now I'm trying to locate that pin, and if you can see it, you can't see the hole that it's got to go into, but the axle's got to come back about an inch. So I put a jack underneath the axle to hold it up, or to push it up, and then I got this little porta power. I just got part of it going to the front of the axle, and then another part going to a bolt on my plow harness. I think if you take off
the link to the sway bar, you'll be able to move this a lot easier, but I don't want to do that. Since I have this port of power, I'm just going to go ahead and do it this way. So I think all I got to do is give this a little pressure. There. And then gotta go up. And then it looks like I need to actually push the spring that way. Okay. Alright, with a pry bar and just a little pop, I was able to push the spring that direction a little bit, and it popped right in the hole. So these U-bolts are way too long, but that's alright. I can get these started and then just lop off the ends with my grinder and then tighten them up all the way. Because the way they are now, I'll never be able to get a socket on there to run them the whole way. So I will just, I'll just do it that way. Alright, I think that'll do it. These U-bolts got tightened off. I cut off the ends. Was able to get a socket on there better. Crank them down. I'll put the tire back on and set it on the ground, then just tighten these two back ones. I'm out of battery, so I gotta stop the video, but that's it. Once it's on the ground, I'll tighten everything up and it should be good to go. So thanks for watching, and please rate, comment, subscribe, and have a great day.